It is unequivocal.
The world may be on track to warm by more than 3 degrees.
More ripple effects to keep in mind, like changes to your business or your wallet.
These really extreme heat waves that we're going to get, those can actually increase the needs for air conditioning, increase those costs.
As climate change continues, we're seeing more droughts, more heat waves, midwinter warming events.
Most people in Maine now have noticed that it tends to be warmer. We tend to see more extreme rainfall events and then dry periods in between them.
We're surrounded by clean water and we have all this healthy natural environment around us. And so I don't think it's always forefront in our mind that there's a threat to it.
What's really going to change our forest, it's that odd period of time for a year or two or a really extreme heat wave that's actually going to kill trees. I'm Jay Wason. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Forest Resources, and I study tree physiology and how trees respond to extreme climate events like heat waves and droughts and floods. So this is a study that was funded by the Northeastern States Research Cooperative, and what we're trying to understand is how tree regeneration in the northeastern United States, so a lot of the common trees that we have growing around here and some that may become more common, respond to stressors like droughts and heat waves, because those are some of the things that we think are becoming more common in the future. And by simulating those here, it gives us kind of a benchmark or a range of what to expect in the future for people that are growing forests and trying to regenerate forests in this region.
So we're building these chambers that are going to implement a control, a drought, a heat wave, and then a drought combined with a heat wave. And this will be going on for about a month, and then we're going to be looking at different physiological measurements of water stress and how the trees are either acclimating or maybe not acclimating to these different events.
So this is one of 6 locations that we've got across the state. So this treatment here is our drought treatment, where we've got the cover blocking any rainfall from coming in, but the sides are open so it doesn't get too hot in there. The plants are definitely starting to suffer, so we're seeing a lot of wilting from the leaves in here, but it does seem to differ by species, where some of the species are surviving the drought condition better than others. So this treatment condition here is our reference condition, so we allow the rainfall to get in. We don't have sides like a greenhouse, so it's cooler in here and there's plenty of moisture available for the plants, and the plants tend to be really enjoying this. But this serves as our reference point so we can compare our other treatment conditions to these. So this structure is representing just the heat wave condition. So on the top of the structure we've got holes that allow rainfall to get in, and the plants, while they don't necessarily all like the really hot conditions that we're getting, most of the plants are doing okay, and so a lot of the leaves in here are looking really dark green. So the plants tend to be enjoying this, but there's definitely some of our native species that don't like the high temperatures that we're getting in here. And so this treatment on this side is our heat wave and drought condition, and so this has really been the worst condition for these plants. And many of the plants in here have had their leaves get kind of crunchy and crispy because they haven't had access to water, and they're getting temperatures over 100 degrees pretty regularly over the summer.
I think being able to study the resilience of these tree species definitely gives me a lot of hope and the opportunity to take what we've learned and take action with it. My name is Bridget Morena. I'm a third-year student here at UMaine, and I'm the undergraduate field technician working with Laura for the summer. Climate change sometimes seems like such a global issue that it's hard to feel like it'll impact you personally, and I think since coming to Maine, I've realized how personal it can be. Forestry is such a huge industry in Maine. If our forests are changing, that's going to have a huge impact on the people of Maine and our economy. So being able to predict and make suggestions about how to change forestry going forward is really important here.
I think this research is really cool and it's exciting because we're looking at more than just one climate event affecting these tree species that are iconic to Maine.
One of the interesting things about Maine and how we've designed our study is that we're at this tension zone between what we think of as the boreal forest, which are these evergreen trees that tend to have needles and grow further north in cold conditions, versus the more deciduous trees, which are trees that have these broad leaves and they drop them in the wintertime for the most part. And so we think a little bit of warming, a little bit of drought stress could push those trees further north. Now those deciduous trees can move in. They're completely different in terms of how they interact with the world, in terms of how they use water, in terms of the shade and cover they provide in the wintertime. And so there's a lot of ripple effects that occur there as we think about that transition.
We're working with either landowners, forest managers, nonprofits, and seeing the different ways that people in Maine are contributing to helping our forests continue to be resilient has been such a treat.
I do think the research is pertinent, not necessarily to alarm people, but just to show them, yes, it's here, but maybe we are more poised and ready to deal with it, and that we can be very proactive about it here in Maine.
It's been very fun and easy. We love partnering with UMaine School Forest Resources in many different capacities, and so it just is a natural fit for us to be able to bring that type of work to our community so that people can see what they're working on, and also just continue conservation education in Piscataquis County.
One nice thing about this project is it's not the only thing that we're doing in our research lab and in the other research labs that I'm collaborating with. We have a lot of other connected projects. And so I think what I'd ask people to think about after learning about our study is when you walk through the forest next time, whether you're a forest manager or you just like going for a hike, or maybe you just walk by trees on your way to work or into your office each day or something, is to realize that these trees are living organisms. They're experiencing the world around us, and we've changed a lot about that world. And we have a duty to understand those changes and try to find a way not only to just protect them, but also to allow them to survive and thrive in the future. And so just remembering the trees, while they don't move and walk around or smile or laugh, they are living organisms, and they deserve our respect and our understanding to try to figure out what consequences our actions are having for them.